You are now listening to the Overflow Podcast at thisisoutcry.com. Yo, what's up, everybody? This is me, Joaquin, and I'm sitting here with
Jae,
and we are here for this week's Overflow Podcast at thisisoutcry.com. Now, today we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. So, Jae, while I'm working on getting this flipped over, what's going on? What are we doing a little bit differently today?
Well, right now we're going to start off with a track from our guest artist. Well, guest artist, our special invite, Hector Dominguez, formerly known as Witness, right? He has a new project called Misunderstood, and it's a raw album. It's, he does a lot of soul searching. Yeah. He opens up about a few things. So the name of this song is called No Regrets.
Right, so normally we play the song halfway through the podcast,
right.
But this week since we got Senor
Hector on the line.
Hector, I don't know why I'm always flipping with his name. Since we have Hector on here with us, we're just going to start with his song first. This is a song he requested for us to play. It's a very meaningful song for him, really dope. So here we go. It is called No Regrets.
Ever written a letter, escaping the page, feelings bottled up, embracing its waves? Still remember exchanging the blame. I wish saying sorry erased all the pain. Man, I was young, nothing but lust in my eyes. Maybe that's why my heart got crushed all the time.
Boy, you know I love you.
Yeah, if I'm trusting that line. But my mother told me never find trust in a lie. Heard you had a baby and it broke my heart. Never slept together, but I played a part. Emotions lie where they rest. A moment of passion led to a life of regrets. Nah, I ain't saying no names, you know who you are. I just pray we all heal from them scars. Can't avoid these images. You said you hate my music, but girl, I know you listening.
I always thought playing games and breaking hearts don't mean nothing at all. Now I'm looking in the mirror, see the picture clearer. I never thought it would affect me, but when I think about it, angels do fall, but it's worth it all. Today, they get up and fly away. Just let go, no regrets. Just let go, no regrets. Now get up and fly.
I'm the product of a misguided father and a Christian mother. Maybe that's why I became such a distant lover. They told me I ain't got a lover, just wear a rubber. But I was scared to get caught under covers. So I did what any child would do. Kept switching to my man girls. It's all about the view. Now I'm feeling this burden from the women, I've heard it. But life screws us all, come on, no one's really a virgin. And I'm so ashamed. I thought a lot of things would change. But once I flipped the page, I saw that it didn't. I shouldn't, but I wanna. How'd I go from a school of roses to 50 shades of gray? I don't get it. I've seen a lot, here's my confession. Little girls become women, rushing to that pole who don't know they're elected. Never questioned if my actions caused any harm, until the day I held my little girl in my arms.
I always thought playing games and breaking hearts don't mean nothing at all. Now I'm looking in the mirror, see the picture clearer. I never thought it would affect me when I think about it. Angels do fall, but it's worth it all.
Everybody fights to be accepted. But what good is validation if you don't recognize your own reflection? Passion and lust float through the air like a midsummer's night eve. You were created to love, but don't add them up if you know what I mean. Lost in a world full of ideals, low self-esteem and a set of high heel scars. No amount of makeup can conceal. Left questioning like, man, isn't God real? Can't turn a bad girl good, but once a good girl's gone bad, she's gone forever. Seems we've had it wrong forever. Angels do fall, I just hope you ain't down forever.
All right, what's up, everybody? It's Joaquin again. That was No Regrets by our my new friend, Jay's old friend, Hector Dominguez.
Dude, you act like you're not Puerto Rican just because you look white.
Hey,
right?
I gotta play the part. What's up, Hector? Hector's on the line. What's up, brother?
Up, guys?
Yo, so we're gonna get right into it, Hector. All right.
All right, let me flush the toilet.
You know what, man?
Yo,
That is the best thing that's ever happened on this podcast.
we're gonna get right into it. All right.
What's up, guys?
So we started off 2017 with New Year, New You, right? But on a spiritual level. But this year for you has actually been New Year, New You personally.
Anybody unmute me?
No, you're there. You can't hear us?
Are we having technical difficulties?
Looks like no. You're not muted. He's not muted.
Did you mute us?
No. Can you hear us, Hector? Oh,
No, he's calling.
Uh-oh. We got, for whatever reason, now we can't answer him.
It's always something.
Oh, there we go. All right, Hector, you there? All right, so I'm going to...
There he is again.
No, I'm going to call him again. Something happened. I don't know. I think he might have accidentally put us on.
Oh, New Year, New You. He's texting me.
Uh-oh. What happened? Oh, man,
This is not good. Well, while we try to settle these technical difficulties.
Hello?
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
I'm like, damn, they must have hated that I was in the bathroom.
No, we were actually laughing about that and joking about that.
Yeah, so we just... So, hey, listen, this is at the Overflow Podcast. We're all about technical difficulties. So,
All day.
anyway, as Jay was saying, our focus this year is, or for this first start of the month, is New Year, New You. New Year, New You, New Me, New Everyone. And so apparently this has been a change for you, because you used to go by Witness, correct?
Yes, I went by the same name as 15782 other rappers.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wait, did you say 157.82?
Yes.
Is that like
talk to me?
Is that like 11?
Oh, talk to me.
So
That's
why
about 7-11 times.
why the change? What happened, man? ¿Qué pasó?
Man, to be completely transparent, 'cause that's what I'm about now, it's just I did a lot of bad under that name. And I felt like as Christians, you grow and you learn and you make mistakes and you're able to bounce back from those mistakes. But I wasn't given that same grace. I wasn't given that same courtesy. That plus I was trying to fit into a box that I thought I had to, so I could be on Rapzilla, so I could be liked by their crowd, so I could be on Jam the Hype, so I could be liked by their crowd, so I could be on Wado and liked by their crowd.
What box is that? What box are you
Oh,
talking about?
you have to make the youth group song, you have to make the churchy song, you have to be extra lyrical theologic. You know what I mean? Like you gotta do all this extra stuff. I'm like, man, I just want to make music that has people asking me, why do I rap about Jesus? That's it. And I felt like I wasn't being, I was never lying. Like, you ain't never going to hear something I rap about, and it ain't true. But what I was doing, I was catering to certain groups more than I should have been. And I was denying or rejecting other groups that I should not have been. So that's kind of where that all came from. I just wanted a brand new start, a second chance. And I thought just going by my government name and rapping about myself and what Jesus has done for me would be the best way to go.
All right.
Okay, that's
So
what's up.
what you're saying is that as witness, and you were focused on being
Numbers.
right, focused on numbers, focused on I guess there is some kind of fame in CCH, right? In CHH.
Oh no,
right?
there definitely is on a certain level. Like fame for me in CHH would have been flying me out to shows and doing that, right? I'm no longer concerned with that anymore. I'm a husband, I'm a father, my kids and wife need me at home. I need to lead them. And that's way more important to me than, jumping on stage with a bunch of people. That is fun to do. But what's more important to me is my family. So I figured I'm going to be the local rapper, and I have no problem being that dude. Like, I don't have to be famous. I can be all up in Chicago, all up in these streets, these alleys, these avenues, these corners. And I can do just fine here. Like I'm content where I'm at. You know what I mean?
So you're content,
So in other words, it's like you're just content being the local rapper, like the local pastor, the unsung pastor, right? The guy at the corner church. That's pretty awesome. I'm gonna say I've followed Christian hip hop for a long time, and it's always, with all the discussions of all the people always talking about, well, don't call me a Christian rapper, call me a Christian rapper, don't say this, don't say that, I'm this, I'm that.
So Hector, so are you a Christian rapper, or are you a rapper that's a Christian?
Or you don't care? Label me whatever you want.
I'm a little bit of everything. So I am a Christian. God comes first, everything else comes after. But I also don't care what you call me. Like, I don't care if you call me a Christian rapper or not. That's what you're going to end up calling me when you hear my music. You know what I mean?
Just don't call you witness.
Right.
Nah, don't. Please don't. That's disrespectful.
Which is funny, right? Because I personally never called you witness.
Yeah.
Like even on my phone, I have you down as Hector.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, because that's a big thing for me. Like, don't come at me like outside of shows or outside of you being on stage, or if I book you, whatever. Don't come at me with like your stage name, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's just a thing with me personally. Like, nah, dude.
Yeah.
Because when I used to, I don't know if you remember when I used to do the whole hip hop thing, like I went by Slim, and people still call me Slim, and I would always fight. It's like, hey, Jay, my name is Jay.
Yeah, no, that's the funny
My
part.
name
The
is
funny
Jay.
part. Yeah, that's the funny part. The funny part, no one ever called me witness before, and then I changed my name. Everybody named Mama want to call me witness now.
Yeah, I think that's usually the way those things work out.
The kid that I connected with you with, like I think last week or 2 weeks ago, like I was telling when I was telling him about you, I was like, yeah, listen, look up this guy Hector, right? Hector Dominguez, look for it. And I gave him like, I'm the real Hector, whatever. And then he texted me back. It's like, yo, you were talking about witness this whole time. It's like, nah, son, don't call him that. His name is Hector.
That's cool. So
talk to us about No Regrets.
Yeah, I was about to say. So I saw that you had posted. I think it was on Instagram where you had posted the song, and you had wrote that it took you a while to write it. And it was a very emotional song, and so I want to know. I want to know what is it about this song that made it so difficult to write, and what is it that's connecting with you with this song, or what is it that you're trying to connect with us?
Yeah, because
Definitely, man.
I'm hearing it, and every time I hear it, for me, it's a sex song.
Yeah.
Right? It's not a song to have sex to, but it's a song when you're talking about.
Oh no, you could definitely have sex to it all day.
I'm making the disclaimer: hashtag with your wife.
I mean, yeah.
I'm saying
I'm married.
I'm saying like you that sounds like that's like the overlaying topic of it.
Well, yeah. So very quickly, because I'm outside and it's freezing, and There's cars driving very slow around here. I I wrote that song because I was a virgin until I got married, right? And I was a virgin by choice because I was scared that the first time I'd have sex, I'd have a kid. And
That's a good reason.
that's exactly what happened. First time, boop, had a son. You know what I mean?
Right.
Those
But
Puerto Rican
but
genes.
the reality is I was very sexual. So like I think there's a big misconception between virginity and purity. You could be
Yes.
a virgin, but that does not mean you're pure by any means.
Right.
And then that also means you could have lost your virginity, but you could still gain your purity back. You know what I mean? And that's what this song is about. I was very sexual with girls. I never like it was just I don't know. I just wanted that love and attention, and I knew I could get it. You know what I mean? And after I would break up with these girls, or these girls would break up with me, every single one of them came out pregnant. Every single one. And I felt like it was my fault. Like
with the guy after you.
yes.
Okay, all right. Just I thought there was a
No,
whole
no,
bunch
no,
of
no,
immaculate
no,
conception
no,
going
no,
on
no
in Chicago.
baby daddy, no baby daddies. But then, like I've literally done shows where me and my wife were at a show, and my ex-girlfriend's in the front row pregnant.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? And that was one of the hardest shows I ever did because I felt like it was my fault, right? Like I felt like I introduced them to that lifestyle. I didn't make them sleep with anybody, but I introduced them to that lifestyle. One of my exes had the baby, but because she was so small, like her body type, she ended up in a coma. You know what I mean?
Wow.
And like, I was like, dang, man, like that's my fault, right? So that ate at me for years, but I didn't say nothing, whatever. You know what I mean? Then I had my little girl. And when I had my little girl, I held her and my heart just broke. And I was like, oh my God, Lord, please do not let any man do to my daughter what I did to to these girls, Lord. Please don't let them abuse her heart, her mind, her purity, her worth, her honor, any of that. God, please forgive me. And then I was talking to my wife and I was like, babe, I need to write this song because that's how I express myself. You know what I mean?
Right.
And my wife is such a gangster, bro, that she was like, cool, but you better not put none of these women's names in your song. And I'm like, no, check it out. And I'm like, nah, girl, I would never disrespect you like that. She goes, I don't care about me. Don't disrespect these girls like that. That's nobody's business what y'all did.
Wow.
So
Nice.
she was more concerned about the opinion others would have of these girls because people in my circle know these girls. You know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
And so when I first wrote this song, I was like, man, how do I come about it? Like, what do I do? So I just started writing. And like, it was the hardest one for me to write because I had to in verse 1, I had to figure out what was I doing wrong? You know what I mean? And that's where I'm like, you ever written a letter escaping the page? Like you ever wrote something and like felt something, but you're like, there's no way I can share this because people are going to judge me.
Right.
And that's where that came from. And then I had to figure out. So that's the first verse. The first verse is me talking about what I was doing wrong and how I was just hurting them and why it didn't matter. You know what I mean? Because everyone else was doing it, so why should it matter? And then, fun fact, I lost like my purity cherry, I guess, with a church girl. You know what I mean? Like she was just like, come here, let me show you something. I was like, okay, little naive little boy, and it just rocked my world.
It went to a little naive little man.
Yeah. But then the second verse is all about me examining my heart and why was I doing what I was doing? Why was I acting the way I was acting? You know what I mean? And that's where I say them lines now I'm regretting all the women I've hurted, but life screws us all. Come on, no one's really a virgin. And like in my album, I say, girls were having sex. They passed me notes, had me wishing. I said yes, but I wish I would have told them no. And like a lot of people ask me what that means. And I told these girls in high school that I was a Christian, so they all tried to sleep with me as like a trophy, like where I'm gonna be the one that takes your virginity. I'm gonna be the one that takes your virginity. And I was like, nah, I ain't going. So like I literally had women trying to date me just to break me. And like it got exhausting. So like when I say I wish I didn't tell them I was a Christian, it was because of that, because I don't think they would have even paid me any attention. You know what I mean? Like I wouldn't have been a trophy to them.
Right.
Then comes the third verse. The third verse is me talking to my daughter and giving her the game. And for that verse, I did a lot of research, man. Like I wrote the song 9 different times, bro. 9. Not like I scratched out a word 9 different times. No, I wrote that whole song, 3 verses, 9 different times.
Wow.
And what I did was I did research, man. I hit up a bunch of girls that I admire, that I love, that I consider whose opinions matter to me. And I was like, what would you wish your dad would have done? You know? And a lot of them kept saying the same thing. I wish he would have warned me. I wish he would have told me. I wish he would have gave me the game so I could recognize it when dudes are playing, putting it on me. You know what I mean? Like, and I was like, I refuse to leave my daughter out here naked, bro. Refuse. And that's where that song came from. And then lastly, the whole chorus is about redemption. Like, yeah, girls are their daddies, you know, the apple of their eye. They're the little angels. But guess what? People make mistakes. So what happens when you fall? Yeah, angels do fall. And I don't want to be like, I don't be over religious or theological. No, I'm not calling girls demons. Fallen angels are demons. Yes, we know that. Calm down.
Well,
Well, let me tell you a story.
but you know, it was more like, man, what happens if do I want my daughter having sex before marriage? No. Do I want her to get pregnant before marriage? No. Is there a chance she could have sex before marriage? Absolutely.
Right.
Is there a chance that she can get pregnant? Absolutely. Is it my fault if she does that? Maybe. I don't know. But in God's sovereignty, he works everything out for her good anyways. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the end of the day, let's say you do that. Get up. Get up and fly. You know what I mean? Like, get up. So you fell. So what? Do we not serve a God that says, who can bring a charge against my elect? Get up. We know. We're not saying you're innocent because you're guilty as hell. But the Bible says that we're blameless, right? That he paid that for us. He covered us. So get up and stop letting people tell you you're worth nothing.
So Hector, right? As
Talk to me.
a fellow father, right? Because I've got 2 daughters, right?
Oh,
I've got 2 daughters. One is grown and, you know, already made me a grandfather and stuff, but got married.
Oh, yeah.
Like she got married, had a son, stuff like that, right? So
Yeah, I remember that.
But I have another one who just turned 18, right? So, you know, that's always on my mind, always on my heart, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you, as a father, if that, I mean, God forbid, of course not. Like, you never want that. But if that does happen, right, what would you say? What words would you use, right, to let your daughter know that she is still loved, she is still beautiful, and she's still blameless?
Yeah, I legit would tell her, you know, you messed up, right? We know this already. I don't need to tell you that. That stomach of your body changing, you throwing up, you having sleepless nights, you know this already. You know that you messed up. Where do we go from here? You got 2 choices, baby. We could rock together, or you can try to do it on your own. And I'm telling you right now, do it on your own is not what we want. We want to do this together. And I would just tell her, man, it doesn't matter. Like, I'm still gonna, like, I legit will give my life for my kids, bro. I will legit die right now on this corner on Wabanshi and Carla, right now in the middle of these little gangster neighborhoods. I will die right here for my family. So my daughter is gonna know that. She's gonna know there's nothing she could do that could ever make me hate her. There's nothing she could do that could ever make me love her less. There's nothing she could do. I'll be pissed off. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go find this dude and be like, guess what? You put your pee-pee in her? Now you're going to marry her, bro. Real life. Real life. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that makes...
But she'll know. She'll know there's nothing. I have this conversation with my son now. When my son gets yelled at, Poppy, but you yelled at me. You don't love me? No, son, I still love you. That's why I yelled at you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't care.
That's dope. That's real.
Yo, that's what's up. So, what else can you tell us about this? You know, some maybe just the rest of the album.
Yeah, no problem. I didn't mean to cut you off. My bad.
Oh, that's okay. Go ahead.
So it starts off with my testimony, sort of. I grew up in a I didn't have a good first half of my childhood. I grew up living in America. I lived in Colombia for a little bit, but that's for a different topic. That's for a different day. You know what I mean? But I grew up around drugs. I grew up around guns. I grew up around murder, and not like TV, you know, like real drugs, real guns, real murders, real gangsters, like real life. You know what I mean? And I knew that wasn't the life for me. Like I knew that. So I dove into comic books because I felt like I love my family, but like, Batman used to fight these guys. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I love my family, but like when X-Men got scared at a young age, that's when they got their powers. You know what I'm saying? So like something dramatic happened, they became superheroes, and I just felt like, man, I can escape into this world of superheroes because they can save me one day. So like that's where I dove into comic books. So that whole first song, Dennis Rodman, that's what it's about. It's about me like being part of a world that I don't really fit into. Dennis Rodman didn't fit nowhere. He was a monster, like he was an animal, best rebounder ever in the history of in the NBA, but he never fit in anywhere. You know what I'm saying? And I felt like that was me. I never felt like I fit in anywhere. And plus, like I grew up with real game bangers, like not like game bangers now, no, like real game bangers. So it's like I saw a bunch of stuff that little kids should see, and that's where that whole first song is coming from. It's just me telling my story. Misunderstood. I was backstabbed by someone I considered a brother, and I didn't understand why. To this day, I don't understand why. You know what I'm saying? I'm just like, what did I do?
Right.
And I felt like when I needed all my boys, they all abandoned me. They all left, and I kind of felt like we were on the Titanic. Everybody jumped on a ship and left, and they were like, "Forget you, Hector. Find your own ship." And I'm like, "Man, but I've been helping you build your ship for 10 years. You know what I mean? Like, why I can't jump in your ship to get out of here? You know?"
Have you tried to reach this guy for reconciliation?
Kind of. So I'm definitely not a liar. So I have not done the best that I could. But it's also I'm afraid of what'll happen. Like I don't want to punch this dude in the mouth. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to give myself like time to heal, so then I can approach. Because reconciliation means you're trying to rebuild, and right now I don't want to rebuild. You know what I mean? So it's like God needs to like work on my heart with that so I can make it happen, because I know that I'm wrong in that area,
Yeah.
So that's where like in the hook of misunderstood, it feels like I'm drowning, you know what I mean? Like that's what it really feels like. I feel like I was abandoned, shipwrecked, Then you got Bar Exam, which was one of the other hardest songs for me to write, because I'm not a bar rapper. I don't have punchlines. I don't do that. I tell stories, you know what I mean?
Right.
And on there we got Matt, we got Cut Right, we got Los, we got A-Ward. We got people who are really doing the thing, bro. And I just tried my best to keep up with them. And then you got No Regrets, which is my favorite, hands down, favorite song I ever wrote in my life. And then after that we have Hope, and on Hope, I kind of felt like my project's a journey. You hear my beginning, you hear my pain, you hear my struggle, you hear my story, but then comes hope. And where hope is, like for me, it's like anybody, bro. As long as you're breathing, there's still hope for you. There was a conversation on Facebook the other day on who's the elect and who is not, and how do we know, and why do you care? And I'm like, bro, I don't care about none of that. Like, I don't know who the elect is. Only God does. So I'm going to treat you like you're the elect, even if you're not. And I'm going to pray that you find this hope, that you find this Jesus. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Good thing this isn't a theology podcast.
Yeah.
Because we can get real deep in it right now.
Yeah, no, you know what I'm saying? Like, no, Jesus calls us, bro. That has nothing to do with us. You know what I mean?
All right, so I have a question for you, Hector.
Yeah.
What's next for Hector Dominguez?
So right now I don't know. So this is my last project, like that I'm working on. What I would love to do is put out more music, obviously, but to be honest, the financial burden that it puts on my family, the lack of resources that I have, if I commit myself 100% to music, then my family will suffer, and I refuse to make my family pay for my dream. You know what I mean? So I want to do the best that I can, and then what I think I can do as like a trade-off is I can help other rappers in Chicago. Like that's what I want to do. God has blessed me with amazing connections and networking skills that are not on my own merit. God gave me that, so I want to use it to help other rappers in Chicago who aren't really good at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's pretty dope.
Yeah, that is dope, because for me and Jay, one of the things that we always try to push is like building others up. We want our ministry to be about taking a guy with talent or with a desire and helping them achieve their calling. But you know what? I do want to say this, man. Like I do want to give you props for this, man. When you said, me following my dreams will hurt my family. So I'd rather
it will.
Stay with my family and provide for my family than to follow my dreams, because it seems like and me and Jay talk about this, we've had several conversations about this, because it seems like, especially even in the Christian hip hop world, everything's about following your dreams. And you very rarely hear somebody say, you know what? My dream's deferred, right? I'm putting it to the side
for my family
because I'm gonna take care of my family. And then you find out, you get all these stories of all these, whether they're rappers or ministers or whatever, where their families end up in shambles.
No, I refuse. I refuse.
Or divorce or
no, hell no. That's not even.
Right?
That's not even. No, you know why I'm not famous? I told my wife this yesterday, because I would cheat on my wife. That's why I'm not famous, because there would be no accountability for me. I'd be traveling the world by myself. What the heck? No, I'm straight. I don't need that, bro. And me and Lauren were talking about this. And
you and who?
Like Lauren, the dude who lived in Miami now lives in Atlanta. He's moving again, FYI. But no, that's my dog. But I'm content being the local rapper, because what God has for me, whatever His plans are for me, work out for our good. So it's like, I'm not famous because He don't want me to be famous, and who am I to tell Him you're wrong?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, if I tell God I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I'm questioning Him.
Yo, and I'm gonna say it, man. Like for me, like and like I said, I've followed Christian hip hop for years. I've been around ministry for years, and that's pretty refreshing. That's a refreshing thing for me to hear.
Oh, glory to Jesus, bro. I'm not a good dude, though. I'm not.
Hey, you know what?
Evil. My heart's evil. Like, I'm not a good dude, man.
No, man. But that's, none of us are, right? We all know that. None of us are good.
We know Jay not. We know Jay not.
Definitely Jay isn't.
I know Jay's not.
Before every podcast, I got to get the anointing oil out and sprinkle him like the Pope.
Dunk me in it. Right? Talking about the Pope. Right? You're a PK.
Oh,
so I'm gonna ask you a question.
Don't ask me questions you don't want the answer to, Jay.
I'm gonna ask you a question because you're a PK, right? You I'm gonna keep throwing that out there. You're a PK. The Pope said something that I completely agree with. All
Talk to me.
All right. He said something that I 100% agree with. I mean, it was so shocking that I can't even believe that it came from the Pope. And like not from Joaquin or I, right? But Pope.
Shut up, man.
I'm serious. The Pope said that there is no point for you to go to church if you don't really believe in God, and if you don't really believe in the church, right? What do you say? What do you say to that?
I agree and disagree. I agree that if you don't believe, then there's no purpose. You won't find purpose there. But if you don't believe, I know that God can change your heart, and He will.
But that doesn't necessarily mean that it will happen in church. I mean, I've
agreed.
I've been to church my whole life, but
I agree.
I was still knuckleheading it.
No, I agree, but I don't wanna treat the church, and I'm using the word church like the bride of Christ, not like the building. Like, I don't want to treat the church as some thing that has lost its flavor or something like that. No, we're just evil.
No,
what I mean?
But he's not talking about like the congregation or the gathering of the people. He's talking about like actually getting up and going.
Oh, like service.
Yeah, and like
service.
going to church, like getting up and like doing things, right?
Oh yeah,
Right,
I
so-
understand.
Yeah, so he said, he goes, if all you do, basically he goes, he used the term Christian parrots. And basically that's people who just kind of, let's say you just, you just show up at church, you sit there for the hour or two, depending on what your ethnic.
4 if you're Latino.
Yeah, 4 or 5 if you're Latino or Black. I grew up in white churches, so I'm good with the 1 hour. But if you just kind of go, you sit there for an hour, you're like, yeah, Jesus is good, yeah, Jesus is great, and then you go home.
Like, you know when to say amen.
Yeah, you just leave to do whatever, but you don't feed the poor, you don't reach out to the hurting, you don't. So that's kind of what he was saying. It's like, don't bother coming
I agree with
if you're just gonna sit and play the game. It's like the Easter and
Easter and Christmas.
Easter and Christmas Christian.
Yeah, you're gonna just come and play the role. Well, we're talking about the Pope, dude. If you're just gonna come to church just to play the role, right? When you're in the gathering, but you're going out there and you're not showing anything, then why bother, right? Yo, he said he said Christian parents, yo. That's amazing.
So I work in communications. That's my full-time job. Communications for property taxes. So I will not say. I will agree that if you are just coming here to go through the motions, then yeah, you're wasting, like, what are you doing with your time? But I will not say that, because I wasted my life here, and that's where God found me. You know what I'm saying? Like I was a pastor's kid. I was doing all kind of dumb stuff, but listening to the sermon. And then one day he just grabbed me. You know what I mean? So I won't say that it won't happen, but I do agree that a lot of times it don't happen.
Right.
All right.
So you agree with the Pope partially?
Partially, yeah.
Not 100%. All right.
Yeah,
all right.
partially, but then I gotta repent because he's an idolater. So I gotta be like, Lord, forgive me.
No, because if you agree with Ronald McDonald that the Big Mac is good, that doesn't mean that you're serving Ronald McDonald. That just means that the Big Mac is good.
I mean, sometimes.
It might not be good for you, but it's delicious.
Yeah. I smell you.
Right? And like we're asking that about the Pope porque right? That's our topic for today as we close out the New Year, New You series.
Yeah.
Right? James says in James chapter 2 that faith without works is dead. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And not works as like I said in the video, like
you gotta earn your faith.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not using a point system like the J-dubs do, right? Where
like Santa Maria, Santa Mañana.
Right, stuff like that. But what's the it's like, if you're gonna say that you're a Christian, right? If you're gonna say that you're a Christian, you're gonna say you love God, you're gonna say you follow Jesus, right? Then how do you not test your faith by walking out in it? Right, by stepping out in it and do things and say things and believe things that require faith.
Yeah.
Right.
So one way I do that is my marriage. So I don't know a lot of dudes my age married. I can legit count them on one hand. So what I do is I grab a couple of my boys and I just bring them over to my crib and let them see how me and my wife love each other, how me and my wife argue with each other, how me and my wife reconcile, I'm saying? Like how I discipline my kids, how I mess up and I treat my kids and my kids snap at me and how I deal with that interaction. Like that's one of the ways I do it because I feel like a lot of dudes, our problem is we didn't have nobody to teach us. No. So we ran to TV, we ran to rappers, athletes, and they're all messed up. You know what I mean? So it's like I wanna use my marriage as a platform to show the gospel off to people and to show what a healthy marriage looks like, bro. Because if you were to ask somebody who don't know, they're gonna be like, man, you just get together, make some babies, and don't cheat on each other. No, that's not the purpose or goal of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What you got, Joaquin?
Oh, I'm just listening. You guys are the married ones. I can't contribute to the married conversation.
It's not the married conversation. It's the whole Facebook works conversation.
But even when you're single, Joaquin, even when you're single, you don't look at your boys and be like, damn, why are you treating your girl like that, bro? If I had a girl, I would never treat her like that.
Actually, I don't. I tell them. I'm like, damn, bro, you need to watch your mouth. Don't talk to your girl like that.
That's funny.
But he does that.
But I do. Well, I think with James here, James is one of those books in the Bible that just always every time you read it, you feel like you're getting a gut punch, right? Because he's
got no chill.
Because he's he's just calling people out left and right. Or ideas left and right. I love your example. Hector, I love that that's how you're practicing that. Your faith is by, or one of the aspects of the way you practice.
Yeah,
your faith
one of them
is by just demonstrating. Because I think a lot of times, it's funny that you said marriage. I think because a lot of times when we think about practicing our faith, we always go to the orphans and the widows,
Right.
and the hungry and like the disenfranchised, and we forget that there's a lot.
Love God, love your wife like Christ loved the church, bro.
Yeah, there's so many other aspects of what it means to walk out your faith, and we see, and I've seen this, right, where you have the guy that loves to go out and give socks to the homeless on a cold winter night, but then you see him how he treats his wife and his family, and he ignores them. He ignores them for ministry, or
right, exactly. I was about to say that.
Or he
right?
talks bad about he just the way not that he talks bad about them, but the way he talks about them and to them, isn't a way you're living out your faith. So I think it's very cool that you kind of
it's awesome because
you brought that up.
You want to go right. You're like, oh, I want to serve. I want to walk my faith. And your son is asking you to read him a bedtime story, but you tell him I don't have time for that because I got to go out and like give warm socks to the homeless, right? Then hey,
my son,
dude,
my son broke my heart.
You need to check yourself.
My son broke my heart. He's like, man, Papi, you don't come to my karate practices, and I legit almost started crying. But it's like, man, Papi, I'm at work. You know what I mean? Like I have to provide, but like that hurts so bad, man, because I was like, man, I really wish I can go to your karate practices, man. Like you don't understand, bro. Like, I know I'll never be the perfect husband. I know I will never be the perfect dad. Like, I'm a failure every day. You know what I mean? Like, I know that. And I like it's kind of freeing that my wife understands that, like, I'm nothing without Jesus. You know what I mean? Like, she relies on God, not me. But it hurts, man. Like that's one of my struggles. Like, I want to be the best dad that I could be, man. Like, I had a good dad, bro. Like, my dad was a monster. Like, he was a beast. You know what I mean? Like, he was a terrible dad before he got saved. But after he got saved, he was an animal, man. Like, he was just so like, he just came to every basketball game, like went to every diving match, like did so many things that I know he hated doing, but he did it because he loved us.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I get it, because like when I was younger, my dad never came to anything. Right?
Yeah,
he never came to anything at all. Maybe it's a Latino thing. Maybe it's like a Puerto Rican thing. My dad,
I hate to say it, my dad was there. My dad coached my little league teams from the time I was 6 to 18. So
that's awesome. But
sorry,
then when I became a minister, when I became an evangelist, and I would go out like all over New York City preaching or whatever, like my dad would be there. Like he wouldn't go to like my concerts, he wouldn't go to my awards or like, nothing, baseball games, nothing. But the minute I started preaching, dude, like my dad would be the first one there, all suited up in a shark skin. Right?
Yeah.
No, and that's the thing, bro. It's a vicious cycle. Like, my dad's dad didn't do nothing, bro. My dad got drafted by the Detroit Tigers and the Cincinnati Reds when he was 17, and his parents didn't push him at all. So my dad gave up and became a gangbanger. You know what I'm saying? Like, what type of crap is that, bro? And that's where I gotta guard my heart, man. Because Lord knows, bro. Like, I struggle. Like I struggle with that because I look at my son, bro, and I would die for my son. You don't even have to ask me, bro. They come into my crib, put a gun on our head. Who goes first? Me. Let them go. Come on, let's go. Harris, let's get it over with. I'm going to heaven, so I'm good. Let's go. You know what I mean?
So question. What? All right, you use your marriage as that example, right?
Yes, sir.
But what would you advise people, right? What would you tell people who are looking for ways, right? Who are looking for ways to understand what James means by, without works? Because James, if you read that chapter, James says that, dude, you're a fool. Like, you're a moron, basically, if you think that you can have all this faith but not have it proven by your works. Right? You're a moron if you think that you can just say, well, I got faith in Jesus, but you do nothing. You do nothing to show this great faith that you say you have in Jesus, right? So how would you explain that, or how would you like advise somebody that, it's more than just, yapping about it, right? You got to be about it. You got to walk your talk.
Yeah, so what I would do, I have two answers. For the Christian, I would be like, hey, bro, be the best that you can be. Do everything in excellence, bro. If that means you're a dishwasher, bro, clean them dishes so good that you can see your face in them. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a janitor, bro, sweep them floors with pride and not arrogance. Pride, but not arrogance. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like do everything that you can to the best of your ability. Even if you're not good at it, give it your best, bro. Because that will show that your goal or your motive is something else, and that will draw somebody to you. Like, man, bro, why are you cleaning that spoon like that, bro? It's just a spoon. Nah, man, I got to do the best that I can because of this. Boom, that's your conversation starter. You know what I mean? And then for the non-believer, I just be like, bro, we could be doing anything we want out here, right? I could be like, I'm literally right now, literally as I'm talking to you, I'm steps away from a drug dealer. I could be like, bro, I just want to get high right now. Let's go do this. Let's go do that. But no, I would use my time and my effort and be like, look, bro, this is what we're all could be doing, but this is what I choose to do instead and why. You know what I mean? I choose to get up and make sure my kids are dressed. Well, I'm using my marriage again. I'm cheating, but I make sure I'm up before my wife, and I make sure my kids are dressed before school starts. You know, I make sure that their homework is done. I make sure that like they have food in their book bag or like their lunch is paid or whatever. I try to make my wife. I try. I don't do it all the time because I suck at it. I don't drink coffee, but I try to make my wife a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? Like I just try to do stuff like just to show. Like I try to be I try to be extra so they can ask me why. Why are you doing all this extra stuff? Boom. Man, I do this to the best of my ability because someone died for me, bro. So why would I not do this to the best of my ability? What do you mean somebody died for you? Ain't nobody dying. Everybody dying every day. It's Chicago. Yeah, man, but somebody died for real. Let me tell you about it. You know what I'm saying? Like
Right.
Like I don't know, man. I just use everyday life stuff like going to go play basketball or something like that, or going to the restaurant, going to a movie theater or something like everyday life. That's how I would show it to them, because it's nothing for me to hop in a car, abandon my family. Latinos do that every day. You know what I'm saying? Like that's nothing.
Right.
No, but that's nothing. I can do that. That's nothing. What's harder? Harder is staying and pushing and grinding. Why do you do that when it's so easy to walk away, you know?
Right.
Well, yeah, man, that's some good wisdom. Hold on, where Jay is bugging me.
Hold on.
But do you have anything else, Jay? I mean, the man.
I do.
What do you got?
I do.
What do you got?
Because I do have to go because I think my dad stopped preaching, so he's definitely looking for me. But for the record, this was planned to be an hour earlier. So if I get in trouble, I'm telling on you.
That's fine.
I'm letting them know it was you.
That's fine.
Go ahead.
Joaquin Gonzalez.
Give him Joaquin's name and number.
But but I really appreciate this, guys, because I'm a nobody. You guys clearly have access to a Rolodex of rappers that you can pull on whenever, however you want, and you chose to use me. So I thank you for that because you didn't have to. I've learned in my 10 plus years of doing Christian rap that nothing is. I thought I was entitled to stuff because I've been doing it so long. But I've learned that's not real. I'm not entitled to nothing. I'm entitled to taxes and death. You know what I mean? So I just thank you. I appreciate you guys. You guys didn't have to do this. I really, really appreciate it, man. Anytime you guys need me, just holler. If we can make it happen, we'll make it happen. I just really appreciate this, man. Thank you guys so much. And I just pray that God really uses y'all podcast and that he gives you guys a way to like tap into a pool of new artists that nobody knows about, but not to elevate them, but just to have that conversation with them. Because the problem with artists we have now is nobody discipled nobody taught nobody nothing, and everybody thinks they know everything. So nobody's trying to learn nothing.
That's a topic that's coming on later in the year.
You don't want to. Don't talk to me about that. I'll give you the real dog.
But real talk though, real talk. If you, recommend us artists that are out there, right? Recommend us artists. Send us their music, and depending on what I like or not, right there, we'll use their music as a feature.
But bro, I'm from Chicago, so I'm gonna put the whole hood on if you tell me that. So don't tell me that,
son. I don't care.
Hey,
do it.
That's fine. Listen,
we do this every week, son.
Jay's from New York. I'm not. I grew up in Georgia, but I did live 1 year in Chicago when I was 2.
Where'd you live at? Shut up.
Yeah. Matter of fact, my uncle,
his family's still there.
My uncle's a retired PD. He lives up there, so I'm making plans to hit up there probably in the summer. So we'll have to
let me know.
We'll have to link up.
Yeah, definitely.
Dude, we have to go because I gotta go to Humboldt Park. And I gotta take.
That's where I'm at.
I gotta take pictures under that flag.
That's where I'm at. Well, hurry up, because they're trying to take him down.
Oh, word.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
we gotta
All right,
hustle.
so we'll do it in the spring.
We'll hustle.
I'm not
But,
going. I'm not going up there when it's cold.
All right, Hector. Listen, man, we're so glad to talk to you. Like I said, man, if your papi says anything to you, tell him Joaquin Gonzalez. You can give him my number. I'll talk to the man.
Thank you, guys. Love you guys, man.
Brother, have a good night.
Peace.
All right, so
That's it. All right,
he's gone. He hung up.
Well, I quieted him down. Yo, so
Good guy, good heart.
good guy, good heart. Man, it's a lot of good stuff. He said a lot of good stuff that, man, we could just probably spend the next hour just dissecting.
Just dissecting the
I'm gonna
things
tell you
that
what
he said.
though. I'm gonna tell you what though. Like I remember I met him. I mean, see, the thing is, like, you know, I remember I met him at Flavor Fest. I think
Right.
that's probably where you first.
Yeah,
met
that's
him.
where I first met him too.
But for me, remember I went
Well, I met him personally because, like,
because you were doing the festival stuff
the
at the
festival
time.
stuff, yeah.
You know, for me, it was more like, hey, this is, you know, I was like, oh, hey, what's up? You know, because I was just more there just to hang out and be a fan.
and to take all the CDs that were thrown at me.
Right, I was kind of like the pack, you know what, man?
It's like, hey, take the CD. I don't do that. Take the CD. Come on, here's my
Yeah.
CD. Hey, Joaquin, look, they got a new
Yeah.
CD for you.
Yeah, that's right. You would tell him. Give it to my boy. He'll listen to it and he'll let me know if it's worthy of listening to.
You let me know if you're worth taking to the festival.
I was the gatekeeper. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you this, and I mentioned it earlier. I'm gonna mention it again because I think it's worth mentioning. So as we know, like I've followed Christian hip hop since like 1989.
Right.
Right. I've grown up with Christian hip hop. I've read a lot of interviews. I've met a lot of different rappers. I've seen a lot of different rappers, all kinds of stuff. I'm gonna tell you what, and this really, really impressed me about him. You know, the fact that he was, I don't know if you noticed that, if you really, I picked up on it. I mean, you had to, but he just kept big up in his
family,
his
wife, and his kids,
and his wife.
And if you follow him on social media, he does the same thing on social media.
Does he? I just started following him, so I'll be keeping an eye on it. But I thought, you know, it was such a beautiful thing for me to hear him say that he would rather just be the local rapper and to be able to be there for his family,
Yeah.
than to pursue his dream. And I think, you know, and I mentioned it earlier, you know, we're so caught up in following our dreams that I think a lot of times, even in the Christian, especially, I think, you know, if you're secular, right, just to kind of have that division, just for the sake of the argument, you know, you're not a follower, you're not a believer, your heart is in the flesh, and your heart is in following whatever you might think.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Those riches are.
Right, it doesn't matter, right? Because only as a believer do you consider your
But-
family to be your first ministry.
But I disagree with that. I don't disagree that your family is your first ministry. I disagree with the fact that cats think of their family
No.
as their first ministry.
They know it. It doesn't mean that they pursue that or that they do things for that, but they know it.
Do they though? See, I would make the argument that some do know it. I would make the argument that some don't know it, because Witness said it. A lot of cats out here trying to do this Christian rap stuff, and they're not discipled. They've never been discipled. They go from being on the street, from being, you know, to being a believer, to being a rapper,
Because you have like
to getting pushed.
Witness, like he says, all right, but then you have somebody like Fern from Social Club, right? Whenever they've been here in Atlanta and I've hung out and we hung out with them, right, dude, like you always see Fern, like when he's not performing, when he's not ministering or talking to the kids or like connecting with the fans, like you always see him on the corner on his iPad, FaceTiming his family, right?
Right.
Like always.
Yeah, communicating with them.
Always
Yeah.
like telling them, yeah, Papi's got to go. Papi's got to get on. He's got to get on stage now.
Or
Papi loves
texting, because
you.
I know when me and you know, had a little bit of a conversation. Well, one of the times they came here, he would talk to us, but then he would kind of pull away a little bit, and he would text.
Uh-huh.
He was texting the whole time.
He would text,
just texting.
and take pictures.
You know, and when he's the one that remember he said something along the lines that his wife was a missionary with him, even though she was home.
Yeah, even though she was home.
You know, taking care of the kids, but she was a missionary with him.
That spoke volumes,
and it was just
to
like,
me.
whoa.
Yeah, that just like,
you know, because I've known people. Listen, I knew a pastor, a guy who became a pastor, and he went to a different state, and his wife stayed in their hometown because she didn't want to go. I'm not going there. But to be like, yes, right. But to be like, you know, I'm sending, like in my mind, and I know this is probably not how it happened, but in my mind, it's like I see Fern's wife going, all right, praying for me, going, all right, I'm sending you out as our representative to reach others for Christ. Like that's, like I said, that's probably not how it happens.
Yeah, but
that's how it's in my mind, right?
That's how it is, right? You know, just wait till their sons are older, because like that's what I do with Judy. Judy comes with me everywhere.
Yeah, so that's always fun, man. That was we're gonna have to go to Chicago. I've been thinking about going to Chicago.
Well, Hector and I have been talking about that, about like a transference, right? Like we go to Chicago,
he comes here,
and we do things over there with him, and then for us to bring him down here and like let him be one of the artists for Legacy Nights.
Yeah, most definitely. That's a no-brainer.
He could even share his story and like, you know, really connect with the people that come to Legacy Nights. So that'll be dope too.
Yeah, I got a feeling though that if we let him share his story, we're gonna have to be on the wings with like the big not at the Apollo hook. Because I think this dude's gonna go off, man. He gonna be preaching, bro. He's gonna be preaching, and it's gonna be a point where like, yo, Hector, this is a Spanish church, we gotta go home. We gotta go home.
This ain't a Latino church, son.
we gotta pull it. We gotta, you know,
we gotta
we're pulling him out. He's like, hey, Jesus.
We gotta do a lowering of the volume of the mic. Yeah. Right, so I saw another day.
No, because then he'll go, I'm Latino, I don't need a mic.
I've done that so many times. Puerto Ricans are loud anyway. I don't need a mic.
We don't need a mic. So yeah, man. Dude.
But it was good. It was good. And to continue and to close on what we were talking about as far as the topic, right? New you, new year, new you, new faith, because we're closing out the New Year, New You series,
this
right?
Is New Year, New
You
You's done,
right? And when James says that faith without works is dead, you know, Hector gave the example that he shows his faith by what he does with his family, by how he loves his wife and his children, right? And that does, I mean, you know, marriage requires work.
I love the fact that he said how he talks to his wife, how he loves his wife, how he fights with his wife, how he reconciles with his wife, like all those aspects, and the fact that he tries to walk all those through that lens of Christ.
Yeah,
amazing.
It's awesome, right? So James teaches that it's, and again, I want to stress that it's not. You see, I told you we should have remembered it. We should have like written it down. It's not, you know, that you're a Christian by your works, right? Because of your works. But because of your works, you show that you're a Christian, right? So it's not like you have to do these things, right, to build points, right, or to grow favor with God, so that you can be seen or accepted by Him. But because you have been forgiven and loved and accepted by Him, right, because He loves you and because you love Him, you do these things. You step out in faith and you do these things naturally,
right? To kind of give it the. Kind of that relationship aspect example of it. It's like, you know, you do like me, you know, I'm not a very necessarily like public display of affection kind of guy, right? I'm just kind of like, ugh. Right? But if you're like that kind of person, or you're not very, you know, be considered very romantic, right? But when you meet that person, that girl, and you're just like, oh my gosh, she just rocked my world. You don't care. Because you love this person so much, you're willing to like write the silly poems on Facebook. You're willing to like send her the flowers. You're willing to show her, you know, hold her hand in public, even though that might disgust you. You're willing, you know, you're willing to do all these things, right? All these acts of love,
right? Because
you've grown to know her and you love her. So it's the same way, you know, with God. As we grow, right, as we should be growing in our love for God,
And
as
growing in our faith.
as we should be growing in our devotion to Him.
Wow.
When you grow, when your love for God grows, your faith for God grows. When your faith for God grows, you're gonna want to do those things that God has asked us to do. If your girl says to you, "Hey, I don't know why this is kind of a dumb example, but I guess it'll work." But if your girl's like, "Hey, I like flowers, and I like when I get flowers," right? You're gonna look to like, how can I get her flowers as much as I can? Right. You're gonna look for any excuse.
Right. Not just holidays. Like whenever.
Yeah, you're gonna look for any excuse. Oh, today's Friday, and she smiled at me when I got up this morning. I'm gonna pick her some flowers from the fields. Right, here's some flowers, baby. Right. I mean, you're gonna do whatever you can to express that to her. Same thing with God. As you grow in that love for God, and God says, "Love your enemy." God, I love you so much. I'm gonna love my enemy.
Yeah.
Feed the poor. God, I love you so much. I'm gonna feed the poor. God, I love you so much. I'm gonna love my wife like you love me. You know.
Right. James, I want to read the last verse in the second chapter because I think it's like like the picture that he draws is like perfect. Right. He says, this is chapter 2 verse 26. He says, "For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead." Right? So it's awesome because what he's saying is that, the more you step into this, the more your faith grows. Right? Because the more you act out like things of God, the more you show people Christ, the more your faith in Christ grows.
Correct.
Right.
And the more, I mean, and this is because of that, right? The more your blessings grow.
Right.
The more your relationships grow. It's like fertilizer. It just helps everything in your life grow. I mean, that's what fertilizer does. But it's sweet smelling fertilizer because it's from God.
Because it's from God.
Right. But that's what it is, right? The giving others the love of God, showing others your faith, showing other God's love. Right, the scripture tells, right, we always talk about planting seeds, and right, we're planting seed. What do you need? Seeds need what to grow? It needs fertilizer, it needs dirt, it needs water, it needs all these different things.
To be taken care of.
That's what happens. That's what that is. You know. So I you know what? All of us need to remember this verse. And this should be our verse for the next year. Right,
for the whole year, right? So for New Year, New You, we went through a whole lot of different things, right? We went through like new eyes, we went through new heart, we went through new faith, and now we're asking that you step out on this faith and you walk a new walk in this renewed faith that you found.
As you're being renewed, as we're all being renewed. Let's take, scripture talks about is it Paul when he talks about being poured out, right? And pouring out. So as we're growing, as our cup is being filled with God's love and God's mercy and God's generosity and God's forgiveness, let's take that and let's pour it out into others, into our friends, into our family, into the strangers.
All right, let's walk our talk. If we say that we love God, right, and we say that this is relationship and not religion, everybody who hears us knows how I feel about that. But if that's what comes out of your mouth, then
let's walk it out.
Let's walk it out.
So that's it. Listen, we normally talk about movies and shows and stuff. Listen, our favorite shows are back, and yay! And I haven't watched them. I'm behind, so we can't talk about them. I will say this: I saw Hacksaw Ridge the other day. Watch it. If you haven't seen it, watch it. Wow. Yeah. Wow. There's always a lot of good stuff coming out. We're going to throw something up for this week. We don't even know what it is.
We don't know what it is.
Whatever it is, watch it. Listen, we're going to have the song, and we're going to have a link to SoundCloud where you can get the rest of Hector's songs. Listen, download them, listen to them, share them.
All right. Thanks again.
Do all that. Thanks again to Hector. Thanks, Hector, for
jumping on and
being here,
time
with us. And listen, we had some little technical difficulties at the beginning. That's how we roll.
That's all right.
That's how we roll. With all that being said, I haven't said that in a while. With all that being said, we do want to say this. I do want to kind of end it on this note. February is an easy topic month. We're going to be talking about love.
We're also going to be talking about what love's not.
And we're going to be talking about love and what love's not.
What love is and what it's not.
And what it's not, we're gonna be trying to hit. Our goal is to hit the different facets, not just, the relational love with God and relational love with others, and all those different things. So yeah, just be on the lookout. We'll be getting that started next week. And hey, we made it a year, Jay. This is our year podcast.
This is our year
This is
podcast.
our
Our 1 year anniversary
We're
podcast.
so excited. So as always, guys,
Happy anniversary.
happy
anniversary.
Is it 1 year's paper? Is that the?
I have no idea.
I don't either. So you got any other thoughts, Jay? While I
I just wanna thank you all for having this, sharing this year with us, and for listening, and just know that you are loved, right? Keep an ear out for more news on Overflow, on the podcast, on Legacy
Legacy
This
Nights,
Is Outcry,
all
Legacy
kinds,
Nights,
yeah.
everything. This is going to be the year that everything happens.
So remember, thisisoutcry.com. That is where you can go. And as always, guys, we love you. Peace.
Thanks for listening. Remember to head on over to thisisoutcry.com for more content. And don't forget to subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Google Play, SoundCloud, or Stitcher.